Hello and welcome to the video lecture series brought to you by St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. My name is Ravinder. I am an assistant professor with ETC department and we are discussing the subject called programming for problem solving. And in the last two lectures, we have seen what is the idea of algorithm and how you can devise your algorithm and how you can let's say represent your algorithm either in the form of flowchart or either in the form of pseudocode. So algorithm is just an idea. So there's nothing more to see what's an algorithm is. So now let's head back to the introduction to the C language. And now this is the language which we are going to use to interpret our algorithm into actual code. And that code is actually understood by your computer. Okay, so algorithm is something which is being understood, by the human beings, and it is actually the nearest conversion of computer code into human readable form language form. Okay, so suppose you have written a code, and for a layman who doesn't know the languages of computer system, he can read the algorithm and can get the idea what is actually happening in the code. Okay, so first you will devise an algorithm. After that, watching those algorithm or by taking the inspiration from that algorithm, you will actually write the code. Now for writing the code, now code is actually the language which has been understood by the computer. So for writing the code, you must know the language of the computer. And in this particular subject, we are going to use one such language. I'm going to teach you one such language that is called C. It is one of the most popular languages available today. Now, C is quite an old language, okay, but quite a popular language because it is extremely fast and extremely easy to use, and it's extremely light-headed. That is, it's very light in nature. By what I would do mean by light in nature, what do you mean by extremely fast? You will get to know all these things when we'll proceed with C language in the coming lectures. But for now, I'm just going to introduce you today that what is the C language. Okay, so let's head back to the notes, and I'll also show you one example of a C code, very simple example of C code, and I will tell you line by line in that particular code what is the actual meaning, what we are actually trying to do there. So in this particular lecture, you are going to see firsthand what's an actual C language code looks like, and we will also try to implement that code. That is, we try to communicate with our computer by using that language code. Okay, so we'll see if our communication works or not. So let's head back to the notes. Now, the C programming language is a popular and widely used language, and it's actually a general purpose language. It means that you can use it for anything you want. That is, it's not limited for only game design. It's not limited only for communicating with some electronic devices, or it's not uh, let's say confined with your web design and all that. For designing your websites and all that, you can use C for any field, in any field of the computer domain. It's just you must have skills and you must have knowledge of some functionality of the C in detail to implement your idea in that particular domain. Okay, so in that case, C is a general purpose language. It has not been specified, or C has not been designed for any specific purpose. It has been designed to perform any kind of task. Okay, so it's up to the coder how skilled he is, and he can use C to its strength. Now it was developed by AT&T Bell Labs in USA in 1972. So you can see it's quite an old language, but don't be fooled by the date 1972. It is still quite popular, and it is gaining its popularity because it's extremely fast. Okay, it's extremely fast, and speed is nowadays a point of discussion and the topmost priority while designing the systems. Okay, so when the speed of particular systems has taken the front row in the objectives of while defining a system or while designing a system, C has automatically found its place again as the front runners languages which could be used to design such systems which are extremely fast. Okay. Now C was an offspring of the basic Cambridge programming language, that is BPCL, called B. So you can see that C is actually the inspiration of designing C has actually been taken from the language called as Basic Cambridge Programming Language, that is BPCL or B. Now C is actually designed and written by its inventor called Dennis Ritchie. Dennis Ritchie was employed as an engineer in AT&T Bell Labs at that time. Now let's see the characteristics of the C. Now it is very reliable, simple, and easy to use. You will see that how much simple and easy to use it is as we'll go along in the subject. Now the codes written in C are efficient and fast. As I've already used this word fast a few times, quite a few times in this lecture until now, because C is the only language present now or in use present at present in this in here in the present times, which is actually nearest to the machine language. See, computers, when I am saying that these computer languages are actually understood by the computers, I am not quite right in that way, because your computer can only understand the language of ones and zeros, that is binary code. Now the C can be converted from binary from the syntax of C, that is the keywords written in English language. You will see just in a moment what I am trying to say here. So the syntax of C can be converted to this machine language, and that is the binary code, in one single go. While so many other languages present nowadays called Java, Python, and so on have an intermediate, uh, let's say, stage, and after crossing through that intermediate stage, it can be converted to machine language. So that is why C is actually quite fast in execution, but because it doesn't have an intermediate stage. Although this advantage also comes as sometimes as a disadvantage in terms of flexibility and all that, but you can only have a trade-off between flexibility and speed. You can't have both. Okay, so there are only 32 keywords and its strength lies in built-in functions. Now, C is quite a small language. It consists of only 32 keywords. And by using those 32 keywords, you have to make up your complete syntax. So the code, you can say that, so your code is going to be quite lengthy because you have only 32 keywords to explain yourself. But then again, you can use built-in functions and you can use the library functions. I will tell you what library functions is in quite a few minutes from now. Now C help in developing structured code. C is highly suitable for recursive programming. Now these words called structured programs means being divided into blocks. Okay, this one block will do something with this one block do something with this one block will do something, and then all of them combinedly will do a particular task. Now C is highly suitable for recursive programming because the recursive programming means when a task to do its particular function actually calls on itself. Okay, let's say I have to call the factorial of 4. I think you people must have, all of you must have know what is the factorial of 4. The factorial of 4 is actually 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. So you can see that factorial of 4 could be 4 multiplied by factorial of 3. And then again, 3 factorial could be termed as 3 multiplied by factorial of 2. And then again, 2 factorial can be termed as 2 multiplied by factorial of 1. So actually, for finding out the factorial, which we are actually using the factorial. So this is called recursive programming in action. Now C can be used for that, and it's quite effective. Now it is also suitable for graphics. The colors and the graphics you see on your systems today Actually, nowadays you see such a user interface, the graphical user interface where everything is quite intuitive, but on the older times, we have only black screen and dots and one and few of the keywords. So graphics has been introduced, and C could be used to write or obtain the graphics. Now it is highly suitable for writing both the software and business packages. Now C, as you know that most of the highly efficient software you use today nowadays are written in C, like a very sophisticated software called MATLAB, that is Mathematics Lab. You will get to know in your coming years that MATLAB is quite a powerful software which is used extensively in research for researching in the field of mathematics, engineering, and life sciences. Now that complete software has been written in C language, and the business package means the software that will do a performing a particular function, or you can say for a larger software that is being used in the businesses. Let's say in the banking system, you will see a software. So the modules of those software can be written in C and can be integrated with the larger software. This is what has been told written here. Now we can add our own functions in C library. Yes, we can define a function and can store it for future use. I'll show you how it's going to be done. And standard libraries for input output, string manipulation, arithmetic operations. So you don't have to write the syntax every time for let's say for finding out the power of something. Let's say power of 2 to the power 2 is actually 4, so you don't have to write the complete code for it. The function that is actually doing this particular task has already been written and stored for you in the form of libraries. So all you have to do is just call the library, and inside that library you can use the particular function to find out the power. So in that way it will save uh, your precious time. Now the pointers are available. Will just You can just read that, and these all these things will make sense eventually in the course. Now C stands between the assembly languages and high level languages. C has all the advantages of assembly languages, that is quite fast and quite close to the machine language, and all the advantages of and it has all the significant features of high level languages, that is the readability. All the keywords are actually the English words and all that, and it will make sense. So in that way, C is actually a middle level language. Okay. So I'll not go ahead to the characteristic sets and all that. Uh, I will just head on to writing the code itself, and I'll show you what I'm actually trying to say. So let's go. Now this is an IDE. Okay, this is an IDE. IDE is called Integrated Development Environment. Now this is the software actually where you can write the code in C language. Okay, and this particular software has a package called compiler of C, and that compiler is actually the software which understands the language C. It will understand what you have written there. If it is correct, it will tell you yes, you have written exactly right in the legal manners of the language, in the legal constraints of the language. And if you have written something wrong in terms of the language, it will tell you yes, you have done something wrong here, you must correct that. And if everything goes well, it will convert your syntax into machine language, and that machine language code is actually understood by the your system directly. So this compiler is your middleman. So you will write something in this particular software called IDE. Now this is called editor. Now this complete software is IDE, and this portion is called editor, where you will actually write it. And in this portion you will see what kind of files you have. So we'll write your code here, and you will run this. By running means I'm calling the compiler to check if my code is right or not. Okay. Now after that, the compiler will tell you yes, you are right, and it will convert your code into machine language. Now you can't see that file, you can't run it here, but actually your C code is converted to .exe file. I think you people are familiar with .exe file. .exe file is actually the executable file. All the softwares in your life that you have used, what you have done is you have to install a particular software. You will do what you do is you just run its .exe file, that is executable file, and it will actually be read by the computer, and it will do what is necessary to do with that particular software. Okay, so compiler will actually convert your code, your C language file into .exe file. I think you have understood now what is then compiler. So compiler is your friend actually. So let's start. Now in every C language code you are going to write, which is actually called syntax. So syntax is the word for code. You will write everything, almost everything, inside a function called main function. So I will write main, and I will provide two brackets, round brackets, and two curly brackets. And as you can see, so I will provide some comments. Sorry. Okay. Now this is the main function, and this is the first thing your compiler will look for when it start executing your code. Okay. Now first thing first, these are called comments. These are called comments. Okay, comments are just English language, nothing else. It is just there that if you have written something in C language, and if you have passed on your code to some other engineer, then that engineer can have some difficulty or can face some difficulty while reading your code, because C language, the code written in C language or in any language could not be exactly like reading your English language. It's quite different, quite similar, but at the same time it is also quite different. So these, we insert these lines in between. These are called comments, and these comments will tell you what is going to happen in the block beneath or above it. So these are just lines, and comments will always start or be enclosed between front slash star and star front slash. So you can see that anything between these two slashes and stars will be termed as comments by the compiler. That is, your compiler is not going to consider this line as C syntax. It's going to skip it. It will know that, okay, this is the comment, this is for the use of human beings only. They have put it there just to understand what is happening. Okay, so this is just for our knowledge, and compiler will ignore it, and compiler will ignore it only and only when you have put your comment inside these two. Okay, understood? Let's move on. Now this is your main function. A function is a block of code which actually performs some task. So function is a block of code which actually performs some task. And when you write your code will be collection of functions, different functions. On each one of those functions will perform some task, and all those functions in some way or other will perform a complete, let's say, procedure that you wanted your application or your software to do. So when you write a software in C language, that software will actually be consist of smaller functions, and all those functions will help each other to provide you with the desired output. That is it. Okay, but the condition is into all of those functions, one function must be there that is being named as main function with a smaller m. So let's say your complete code consists of 1,000 functions. Okay, every function is helping each other in some way or what to perform a particular task. So every function is performing some smaller task, and combinedly they are performing a complete larger task. Okay, like all you people, like some like a mason and a plumber, all of these are functions, and everyone is helping each other, and by helping each other they are trying to build a house. But uh, there must be a function in your code that is called main function. Main function is, by as its name states, is the function which is going to be looked by the compiler at the starting of the execution. So when your compiler comes to look at your code, if it is right or not, and it's going to convert it into .exe file, it's going to first look out for a main function. If it doesn't found the main function, it's not going to complete the compilation or the debugging process. So it is absolutely essential to insert a main function in your code. So main function is the starting point from where your compiler will take off. Okay, so I think you have understood the importance of main function now. Okay, now inside these main functions you can use different things defined. Okay, you will use different things defined in C language to perform your task, and inside this main function you will take help of other functions also. Okay, so like it's like this main function is your main engineer, and that engineer is going to call the plumber, is going to call the electrician, is going to call the mason. Okay, but that engineer will call each one of them and take them their help and then return them. So the compiler will come to your engineer. Okay, tell me what you have done. The engineer has the responsibility to explain each and everything. This is just same as we are doing here. So main function is the function which is going to call each and every function if they are used in your code. Everything will be defined here. Okay, every other function will be called here. So let's define one thing. The first thing I'm going to define is a variable. Variable are like cup holders. Suppose you want to add, you have written a code in your C language and you want to add two numbers. That is a number 4 and number 6. So combinedly, if you add these two numbers, it will amount to 10. But you cannot do this exactly here right away. You can do this, but again, that is not a good practice. So if you try to do that in you took your brain as, let's say, your computer system. When I say you have to add 4 and you have to add 6, in your brain actually allocates a memory to store the variable 4 and store the value 10, and it will recall 4 and then recall 10 and add them and store the result in one other place, and then your mouth will actually speak, take that data, that result, and speak. So this is exactly what is happening here. Now to store that value, we have to initialize or declare a variable. Let's say I name that as number 1. Okay, now number 1 is the variable which is going to hold the value that is 4. So variable is like an empty glass. You can pour anything into it. Okay, and that glass will actually, whenever you create a variable inside or you write the syntax for it, compiler will actually allocate a memory location for this variable. This is what has been done here. It is exactly like your brain is doing for you. Okay, so number 1 is a variable here. Now I want 4 to be stored inside this variable. So what I will do is I will press equal to sign. Now this is actually called assignment operator, and I will write 4 here. So by writing this line, what I have done here is this value 4 will be assigned to the variable number 1. So actually what is happening here is the memory location which has been assigned by the compiler for number 1 variable, its name, the memory location's name is actually number 1, and inside the memory location number 1 I have to store the value 4, and this particular operator is called as assignment operator. Okay, this is called assignment operator. So everything written on the right hand side of the assignment operator will be stored in the memory location reserved for number 1. So assignment is always from right hand side to the left hand side. And after you are done with writing this line, all you have to do is insert a semicolon there. The semicolon will tell you, okay, this is the end of line. The first thing that I want to do is ended here. Everything written after this line is a separate thing. It's a separate entity. Now one thing more, I also have to tell the compiler what kind of data I want to store, what kind of value I want to store in the variable number 1, because for every other kind of variable, the memory locations that are reserved by the compiler are different. So what I'm saying here is that if you want to store an integer value, that is 4, now 4 is an integer value. If you want to store an integer value into your variable number 1, then for variable number 1, 2 bytes of memory, that is 16 bits of memory will be assigned in your memory, in your drive, whatever bit, in your RAM or whatever bit. Okay, and if you want to store a decimal value, that is, let's say 4.2 or 4.6, those decimal values are actually called as float values. So if you want to store a float value inside number 1 variable that has been named as number 1, then compiler will actually reserve 4 bytes of memory. 4 bytes of memory for you in the complete memory drive. So as you can see, as the nature of the data changes, the amount of memory reserved has also been changed. So it is absolutely essential for you to tell the compiler what kind of data you want to store. In that way, the compiler will know how much amount of memory location it has to reserve. So this is an integer value, so I will write the keyword int. As you can see, int has now become bolded itself. So int is a keyword which signifies integer value. So this line has been completed. By writing this line, what I have done is I have I have declared a value called number 1, called a variable called number 1, and I have told the compiler that I'm going to store an integer value into it. So what compiler have done is compiler have reserved 2 memory locations, that is 2 bytes of memory inside your drive, and he has named them as number 1, and he knows that why he has reserved 2 bytes only, because he know the type of data that is going to be stored into it is integer, and for integer it has a rule that only 2 bytes of memory will be reserved. And by writing this line, what I have done is I have declared the value. Now this is declaration, and this is initialization. So I have only declared that a variable has been created with name number 1, and the data it is going to store is actually of integer type. So that is declaration. And this is initialization. Initialization means you actually assign some value to your variable. So I have assigned value 4 to the variable number 1, and that is it. Now I think video is getting too long, so we'll continue this tomorrow, and I will complete this particular code tomorrow right from here. Thank you.